What is up, you guys? Wowee, what a return to action for the Rainbow Warrior men's basketball team. My goodness, that had to have been one of the most electrifying performances I have ever seen from the Rainbow Warriors. They took on UC Riverside, and that is a team that has given UH some trouble off and on, but fortunately, UH managed to make it 4 in a row at the SRC Arena. The final score there, 88-45, as you can see on my title down below. Wowee, there was really nothing to worry about there if you're a UH men's basketball fan like I am. Holy smokes. I have not seen a dominating performance like that from UH against probably one of the tougher opponents in the Big West in UC Riverside in a long time. Now, prior to that, they won by 43 points tonight. And prior to that, they had eclipsed a 31-point win over Riverside at home back in 2014. But unfortunately, I later learned on Spectrum News that win was vacated due to NCAA sanctions. Now, this one, they had a complete performance against Fullerton at home last season anyway. Unfortunately, any momentum they garnered from that immediately went out the window. But this time, I don't see that momentum leaving UH anytime soon. I'm going to get into a little bit more of this, but I'm going to start out with a little bit of a breaking story that took place about some hours before tip-off. But before I do that, guys, remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you just want to see some more of my games. But in the meantime, let's get into this. Here comes my banner. There it is. UH dominates UC Riverside. Jalen Myers leaves team. UCSD will be tough. UC San Diego, I mean. Now, this one took place about some hours before tip-off when I had looked on Twitter and had seen a statement from head coach Aaron Hunkin-Claytor that Jalen Myers is no longer active on the roster. And that is unfortunate. The grad transfer from Norfolk State. Jalen Myers had appeared in just 7 games, but he only really came in for garbage time towards the end of his tenure. But that's unfortunate because I really think that Myers could have been a deciding factor in a future game, like how Yassine Toomey did in the opener against UC Davis, because he came up big for 13 points. And that could have been Jalen Myers on any given night. Make no mistake. Unfortunately, we're not going to see that at all. And I want to wish Jalen Myers all the best. I don't know if you came across some of my shots on my YouTube channel, but you know what? That's fine. Besides, I thought he was a good addition regardless. Unfortunately, you just never know about these things. But odds are it was probably related to playing time. But oh well, we're moving forward and want to wish Jalen Myers all the best. That's where I'll leave that part. UH got out early, and I was actually nervous about this game because UH hadn't played one conference game since December 4th, I believe, or December 6th rather, and that was against Cal State Fullerton, and that turned out to be a bit of a close one. And then they went back to non-conference play. So they hadn't played a game since December 13th when they turned back UTEP, and they didn't have the Diamond Head Classic this year because that was going to be moved to Feast Week, Thanksgiving week. Unfortunately, it was later canceled for unknown reasons. So I was actually nervous about that because UH didn't really come in cold turkey, but they hadn't played a game in at least 2.5 weeks. And you would think that there would be a bit of rust at all, but there was not. UH shot out to score 10 points early And then that's when Riverside got on the board. But by the first media timeout, UH was up 15-2. So really, there was no rust at all. And it looks like that long vacation they took really did them a lot of good, for sure. And Isaac Johnson led the way with 18 points. And the bench was just as active as Isaac Johnson was. I'm not saying Johnson was the only one who was the most active, but he did lead the scorers. Gytis Nemeikša and Isaac Finlinson combined for 23 points of UH's 39 points off the bench. In contrast, UC Riverside had only 9 bench points. So it was just one of those games for UC Riverside, and give this team some credit because on any given night, they can be a real thorn in the side to any team, anytime, any place, anywhere. And UH knows that better than anyone, for sure. Because when you consider the fact that UH has notoriously split their series with UC Riverside just about every single season up until 2024, when UH got that season sweep, that long-awaited season sweep, thanks to Noel Coleman, who scored 31, and UH managed to beat UC Riverside in overtime. Well, they didn't need overtime this time, and just about everyone got some time on the court. The only one who didn't was Yassine Toomey, and it was reported, now don't quote me on this, although this is 99% positive, the word was that Yassine Toomey had an ankle problem and was unable to play. But fortunately, UH dodged a bullet there because Harry Rulideff went down with an ankle problem of his own, but he was able to come back. So that was a big bullet dodged. And had Harry not come back, would we have still won by as many as we did? I don't think so. But then again, Riverside had a pretty bad second half. They only hit 5 shots while UH scored 18 times, had 18 field goals. They only missed 10 times in the second half. And ultimately, UH bettered UC Riverside 43-18 in the second half. And I got to tell you, I feel for Riverside, make no mistake, because we've had a similar scoring drought like that. And you only have to go back to the 2023-24 season when UH went through a 10-minute scoring drought against UC Santa Barbara. Probably one of the worst teams to suffer a scoring drought against. I don't care who you are. And if that was either Cal Poly or UC Davis or UC Riverside, and they went through a scoring drought like that against Santa Barbara, oh man, life under that team would not be rosy, I can tell you that much. But still, give UC Riverside some credit though, because they still tried, and although the numbers may not show it, they would give UH some trouble anytime, any place, anywhere. But tonight was not. But that night on Saturday was, or Thursday rather, was not one of those nights. So I would give that game an A+ for sure, because they ran away, because UH ran away with that one convincingly against a team that I thought was going to give them some trouble. But this upcoming team, UC San Diego, that's where Tom Beattie transferred to, and they're the defending Big West champs. And if UH routes UC San Diego the same way they did to UC Riverside, holy smokes, this team is going to turn a lot of heads, and I have no doubt that they will at least get an NIT bid. Make no mistake. UH is really that good, and with guys like Hunter Erickson, Isaac Johnson, and Isaac Finlinson added to the roster, and of course returnees like Gytis Nemeikša and Aaron Hunkin-Claytor, this team has got a lot of talent, and they're using it efficiently. Last year's squad had the ability to do great things, but it seemed like they couldn't do that on an effective basis. And another thing to also note is that UH got out to an early 15-2 lead. I mentioned that before, but they ended the game just as strong with a 14-3 run towards the end, the last 5 minutes and change. So obviously, that had to have been one of the strongest performances I had ever seen from this squad. And as far as turnovers go, they did pretty good. 4 out to the first half. Got a little bit erratic in the second half with 8, but a quick that was probably their only hiccup there. They had 4 turnovers by the first media timeout of the second half. But still, regardless of that, they had the cushion where, and that was one of the where they had one of those rare occurrences where those turnovers, although they happen in flurries, they were able to maintain their distance and they were never really under threat. So that was good and pretty lucky on that part. But still, 12 turnovers, I think you can live with that for sure. But besides, turnovers were about even. UH had 12. Riverside had 11. 5 after the first half, 6 in the second half. So I would say that 12 turnovers is something that you can live with for sure. Because aside from that, I did not see one significant mistake that UH made in this entire game, for sure. I can honestly say that because the game was broadcast on Spectrum Sportsnet. And I have to say, I really hope that this team can keep it going and not lose that confidence because although they've lost only 2 games this season and have won the last 7 in a row, that just goes to show that Gannat and the coaching staff hit the portal hard. They may have had a mass exodus with some of the players from last season entering the portal, including some of the grad transfers like Jerome Palm and Marcus Green. And of course, losing some guys that you would not think would hit the portal, like Akira Jacobs and Tom Beattie and Cody Williams. But still, it just goes to show that UH and the coaching staff hit the portal hard, and Gannat deserves a lot of credit for sure. So I hope that they can keep this momentum going into UC San Diego. Now, this is going to be a tougher challenge for sure because not only is UC San Diego the defending Big West champs, but I look for them to really put on a clinic and maybe give UH a run for their money. It's not going to be an easy task, especially last year where they completely dominated us. And it then got to the point where that the season was just for pride and just qualifying for the Big West tournament. And unfortunately, that didn't happen at all. But still, this year, everything has been turned right side up if you're the University of Hawaii. They've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot more experience. And I am definitely glad that guys like Aaron Hunkin-Claytor and Gytis Nemeikša have returned for this season. Now, there was a chance that Gytis could not have returned because of that waiver. And when he entered the portal, just to test the waters, so to speak, I thought that Gytis was going to be another guy that got away after how bad last season turned out to be. But fortunately, Gytis had a change of heart and came back. So I look for them to keep this momentum going. And if they can get off to a good start, the start is going to be really critical against UC San Diego. And they did that last year at their place, UH I'm talking about. But unfortunately, it didn't take long for things to go wrong. Now, in the home matchup last year, UH did really well. But unfortunately, UC San Diego turned the tides and sent UH home to losers. So I'm looking for UH to put on a clinic here and give UC San Diego a run for their money. And maybe, just maybe, Tom Beattie might have wished he stayed at UH. But obviously, he talked about Aniwa Tate Jones, who transferred from UH Hilo to UC San Diego. And on one side of the coin, you can't really argue with Tom Beattie for taking a page out of Tate Jones's playbook, because Tate Jones turned out to be a good addition to the UC San Diego squad, and it looks like Tom Beattie is as well. So, little credit there for sure. So, obviously, the start's going to be critical, and I hope that UH will continue to keep this win streak going. So, hopefully they will do that, and they'll come away with a win over UCSD. So, that's where I'll leave it. So, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And remember, subscribe, and I'll see you all after UC San Diego.